did the AFL ask the Gold Coast to bring forward Damien Hardwick's announcement to scuttle any talk of that? And then by extension of that, when Damien Hardwick was photographed at Carrara Stadium, formerly Metricon, why was Damien Hardwick photographed with the CEO and the chairman as their new appointee when he's going to be their coach? I would have thought you would have Damien Hardwick with the captain and the chairman.
Yeah, good question. I never thought of it that way, to be quite frank. But look, it is what it is. It's happened. But yeah, I mean, Hardwick's going to be a huge asset.
Do you agree with the 6-year deal?
I think it's a bit too long.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's a bit too long. I don't think you need 6 years anymore. I think you need 3 to 4 max.
And another issue which is going to be ongoing for the next 6 to 8 weeks, does Damien Hardwick go after Dustin Martin?
Well, according to him, no. Which is obviously he's going to say no.
Well, he wasn't equivocal when asked about it.
Well, he said yesterday that 80% of his premiership team's sitting right in front of him. And he said Dusty's still got time in Melbourne and so on and so on. And apparently one of the incentives for Dusty is if he holds on until next year, he gets paid out $1.6 million or some sort of incentive.
Yeah, he's also going to play 300 games for the Tigers.
Yeah.
So I know personally that he has spoken of a will to play in Queensland, but the potential to play 300 games for the Tigers, I think could be too big a carrot for him to ignore, and he could stay at Punt Road. But if they're going through, as you only suggested a couple of minutes ago, they're going to go through an enormous rebuild. Their whole identity will change with the potential of not being as good in season 2024. Does he want to hang around?
I think there's $1.6 million to incentivize him.
It's a fairly handy.
Yeah, for sure, mate. Like, I'd be very surprised he'd go unless the Suns can pay him just as much, and I don't think they have the money to pay him that much.
Yeah, but they wouldn't. They'd turn around and they would say, Dusty, we will give you a better way of life. We're not going to pay you $1.4 million. We'll give you 900 to $1 million, but I'm not sure Dustin would actually accept that.
Why would he? Doesn't make sense. Especially when half of that gets bloody taxed.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going.
Yeah, I wanted to go into the debacle out at Homebush Stadium on Saturday, where the Giants beat Essendon by some 120 points.
I think the Bombers have some serious problems, honestly. I mean, if you go on that sort of run and come back and put that on, it's very, very worrying, to be honest with you.
Boy who has had 3 clubs, kicked 9 goals on the weekend, was sensational. And I'll tell you what was even better, for all you Melbourne AFL-loving hard nuts, including you, Ahmed, Jesse Hogan was back page of Sydney's Sunday Telegraph newspaper.
That's different.
Different. That's fantastic for the game of AFL football in the northern states. How often would that be? Jesse Hogan, you wouldn't be able to pick him in a lineup up in Sydney. No one would recognise him. He's now back page of a club that struggles to get more than 15 to 20,000 to a game, and he's back page of the biggest selling newspaper in the country.
Well, there you go. The game's improving. It just goes to show you, if the Giants do well, that they can easily become a powerhouse club in Sydney.
Oh, yeah. Look, I don't know whether we're allowed to say shit on this channel, but shit, yeah.
You can say whatever you want. It's raw sport. Yeah, and to add salt to their wounds, that the Bombers are going to sign on Dyson Heppel, who I think is more than finished.
Oh, look, I haven't seen enough of his games, but he looks tired. He's lacking leadership, and I'm not sure why they thought it best to re-sign him for next year. I don't know whether it's a financial consideration or a leadership consideration, but I just think with where Essendon's at, the fans will go bananas. I mean, they were crying foul over the weekend at the enormous loss to the GWS Giants, and now they want to sign somebody who's 34 years old.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. Like, it just doesn't make any sense in my opinion.
No, I know. And the other thing is, look, the biggest question is why? What does he add to that team for next year? Is it leadership? I don't know.
Good question. I don't have an answer for you, but we can definitely move on.